Welcome to Hidden Gems of Nature. This is our destination today. It's a lake up in a basin full of about 10 or 15 lakes. Any one of those lakes could be your destination. They're all beautiful lakes similar to this one. We're about 3.5 miles in. Join us as we explore and discover some of these lakes up in this beautiful basin in the Uintah Mountains. At Hidden Gems of Nature, I don't tell you what the destination is. Instead, I give you clues so you can explore and discover these hidden gems or your own hidden gems. So watch carefully as we identify clues to find these destinations. And remember, subscribe to Hidden Gems of Nature YouTube channel. Welcome to our hike today. This is the parking lot that we're in. I'll have them pan around. We're in the Uintah Mountains on the west side of the only road that really crosses the Uintah Mountains up in northeastern Utah. This is a pan of the parking lot so you'll know where we're coming in from. We'll get a quick shot of the trailhead and we're off down the trail. Let's have some fun for this 3-day backpacking trip. So this is the trailhead as we're heading in. There's actually about 3 trailheads off this parking lot. 2 of them go into lakes that are immediately off the parking lot. This one goes deeper in. We're going to go deeper in. This is the first quarter mile of the hike. This lake isn't 30 yards from the trailhead. So we're on our hike up. We've probably only gone maybe a mile, but as you can see, there's a prominent peak behind me. That prominent peak stands as our landmark. We'll have that in front of us to our right, and then as we get to our destination, it'll be behind us to our right. We're going up over a saddle now. All along this trail, one of the beauties is the mountain meadows, and this is a small one, but most of the meadows have water in them. They're very marshy. You can pan down in, you can see a little bit, but they're really green and beautiful, and most of them aren't this deep in grass, but there's lots of grass in them. They're beautiful. You can stop and look at them. When I was a boy, my uncles would fish every little water hole in a meadow, even though there were no fish in them. But hey, they loved it. So we just crossed the saddle. We're on our way down into the basin with all the lakes in it. To my left, your right, you can see that prominent peak that we use as a landmark. Directly behind me is a second prominent peak. We'll be just to the south of both of these peaks, and that's how you get your bearings to get out. So, because we'll cross country into a few lakes, and when we cross country into the few lakes, we'll use those as our bearings. But join us as we head down into the lakes. Hiking the trail, and like I said, this country is chock full of lakes. You don't go a half mile before you run into another one. When you drop into one of these basins, there's just a lot of lakes. Along with the 10 or 15 large lakes down in this basin, there's a number of these small ponds that sit down in meadows. Some are big enough to hold fish, most of them don't, but they just add to the surrounding beauty. This is the first Y in the trail, and you can go left to get to our destination, or you can go right to get to our destination. We're going to go right because more of the lakes we're going to go to are on the right side, even though there's lakes all along both trails. So this is what we hiked down to, is this lake. This is not our destination. We're going to actually hike across the dam at the base of this lake. Many of the lakes up here have small dams on them. They're just there to enlarge an already existing lake, similar to this one. So this has a small dam. And most of these lakes also have little spillway ponds or little spillway lakes off of the main lake. It actually makes for a beautiful little setting right below the lake. I know at this lake my family sat down in the trees next to the spillway pond and had lunch once or twice. It's
been real nice. Today we'll stop here and eat lunch as well and wet our line, do a little fishing. Believe it or not, a lot of these little spillway ponds are full of fish, so it's kind of a fun place to stop and fish for a few minutes. This little lake's about a half mile from the last lake we were at. It's right off the trail and has some great campsites around it. Because of its location, it's great for base camping and then day hiking off to many of the other lakes in the surrounding area. Sometimes we cross country a little too much. My son's attempting to come down the section that my other son and I just came down. We're going this way because it's the way I remembered coming in here 40 years ago with my uncles. I guess my memory's not very good. When I was a boy, there was no trail down to this lake. You just cross country down to it from the main trail. But as we found out later, probably another 100 yards down the trail was a fork in the trail that would have taken us straight to the lake.
And this is what happens when you don't have a soft landing for your backpack. It rolls 20 feet down the hill. This is my son's. Now he's trying to roll down the hill to it. So here's the camp. You can see the lake through the trees. Nice campsite. Down by the lake. When the lake's higher, it's actually a peninsula.
Opposite the lake, there's a large cliff, and up on that cliff are 4 of the lakes that are down in this basin. And we're going to hike up to one of those lakes. In fact, this is one of them right here. And enjoy the morning at this lake until we head down to another lake at the base of the cliff. Years ago, this end of the lake used to be underwater. But as we were hiking around it to go over and fish on the other side of the lake, we noticed a couple of these holes and decided to stay and try them out. And these holes ended up being a lot of fun. Kind of a hidden gem for fishermen.
You missed him, man. Go, Noah. It's your turn. You got it. You lost it again. It's 2 in a row you lost. You better check your hook. That's 3 in a row you missed.
My bubble.
Oh, you hit your bubble? Good morning. This is the last day of our 3-day backpacking trip. We base camp here at Lake, and like I mentioned, there's 10 or 15 lakes down in here. We passed a number of them coming in, all of them beautiful. Base camped here. Yesterday we day hiked into a couple more lakes, and then today we're going to hike out a different way than we came in and pass 3 more lakes as we hike out. It's another exciting day to explore and discover some of the beauty in these mountains. So you don't see very many trails like this, but we're going up a rock slate hill. So who needs cairns when you have a walkway like this? It's kind of a nice little walkway. I'm not getting lost on this trail. Hope you don't. Have fun hiking. So we just hiked in, and this is the first of the 3 lakes that we'll cross as we come in.
As you can see, this is not a very large lake. Has some beautiful lily pads on it and actually had some pretty good fishing. What's interesting is that all the larger lakes that we went on had a lot of people around them, but all the smaller lakes had no one on them. We were the only one on the 3 or 4 small lakes that we went to. Fished at that small lake for a couple of hours and then headed off down the trail, and I don't think we went a quarter of a mile. We came around the corner and here's the next lake again. As you can see, this is a larger lake And as I mentioned, the larger lakes had a lot of people, and this one did. It had a lot of large groups camped up on the other side opposite where we're at right now. But the fishing was good, so we relaxed, enjoyed a little bit of fishing. It's a beautiful lake, just like all of them up here. Any one of these is a great destination lake to hike to.
All along the trail, you see a lot of meadow ponds. And that's what this is, just a small pond. There's no fish in it, but it's just a very picturesque view. The meadows are all lush and green when they have these little ponds in them. Just beautiful things to look for as you hike along these loop trails through all these lakes.
This happened to be a very pretty meadow. It had a large stream winding through it. Most of the meadows we passed didn't have large streams in them. In fact, most of them didn't even have streams because it was so dry this year. As we hiked a few hundred yards further, we saw the large pond or small lake that the stream was flowing from. I'm always showing us hiking down the trail, but we do stop and take rests, so I thought I'd shoot a quick photo of us sitting on the side of the trail resting. Something that was interesting about each of the lakes we went to, some of them were very isolated, some of them were not, but whether they had a trail going to them or not, every one of them had a trail around the lake. Here we are at the third lake of the day and the last lake of our trip. We're enjoying a hike around the lake, and here at the end of the lake we can stand on this small bridge and enjoy the final view as we end our 3-day backpacking trip.